Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sober Swole podcast. Sober Swole podcast. Good Lord. My name is Jake Howard, and joining me this evening is the Grand Chameleon himself, DJ Swirl.
What's up, everybody?
Before we get started, I'd like to give a shout out to Gorilla Gains. That's gorilla-gains with a Z.com. They are an apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym as well. They make great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. Check them out and use the discount code Jake15 to save you 15% on your entire order. Next shout out this evening will be to Royalty Nutrition. That's royaltynutrition.com. And to help me out with that is Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's royaltynutrition.com. Check them out. They are a veteran-owned and operated supplement company that does not skimp on their ingredients, and they are dedicated to helping you reach your fitness goals. Use the discount code 37HAKE to save you 15% on your entire order. My last shout-out for the evening will be the FitOps Foundation. They are a not-for-profit organization that helps veterans rediscover their purpose after their active duty service to this country and help them get a foot up in the fitness industry. If you do not end up in the fitness industry after this course, you will still learn great life skills that help you cope with the civilian world. Check them out. Once again, it's fitops.org. If you are looking for a great nonprofit to donate to, that's fitops.org/donate. Ryan, I got some tippity typing to do, so I'll let you self-promote.
Yay, the thing I love to do. So, By to Buy Studios, this is the space that I use in order to help other aspiring content creators raise the level of quality to their already good show. And I do that remotely. So, Jakey Poo is somewhere in the Santan region, and I am in the Mesa area. We don't have to get up from our couches, from our offices, our home offices, wherever that may be, and we can still do this. And yeah, something I'm passionate about, have done for the last 2.5 years. And if you need any help, if you need any assistance at all, you can reach out to us. By to Buy Studios, everywhere you are. And then Buy to Buy is the practical side of the business, where basically if you shop somewhere in store or online, if you find that you have no time, towing, or muscle to get your purchase home, we'll take care of that for you. So we give you peace of mind from the time you buy until the time we say goodbye. I just got a message before we started this, and a gentleman that I did a move for 3 weeks ago, from his second story condo to his third story apartment. He had a marble top table that was not fun, and I did a terrain race on Saturday. That move was way more difficult. But a lot of the things in terms of moving, it's never fun. It's rarely easier. And the young lady I helped this morning, she's still going through it. She had an Airbnb at her apartment when she wasn't staying there, and the landlord decided that wasn't a good idea for them. So she had to move and hit me up. 2 days later, she's in a storage unit figuring things out. So I'm going to help her again whenever she figures that out. So shout out to all my regular returning loyal customers, and she got a 25% discount. So anybody who uses our service, if you use us again for whatever reason and you give us a rating, wherever that may be, we automatically give you 20% off of your next purchase, whatever service that is. So you can find us at buytobuy.com. That's BUYTOBYE.com, at Buy to Buy everywhere you are. And yeah, that's that.
Well, there you go. All right, I think I have Everything's set up.
Your pitter patters are done.
I think so. I do believe I'm done pitter pattering. So, before we get into it, I think we should address the elephant in the room. Paul is not here. We had there was a disagreement that occurred in the last episode we put out, and you two kind of got into it. I talked to Paul the morning after, and I strongly suggested that you guys sit down and have a chat. And apparently that hasn't happened. You have withdrawn your groomsmanship.
Correct.
And so I'm not against Paul coming back on, but I would really like you guys to have a talk first before we sit down, because I don't want any of that bleeding into the show, kind of like it did.
I completely agree. And I was thinking about it. I went and got water before we did all this and put the girls down. And like, in terms of love or affection for someone, like when they consistently do things right by you, you show your affection. You buy them gifts, you invest time, energy, effort, and money into that relationship, right? And so, but what's the opposite of that? What happens when someone is in your circle and the opposite is happening? So instead of buying them gifts and enabling that behavior, you set up a boundary. And so I did that. So I set up a boundary. It was very simple. And it was just simply, he went out of his way to be petty. I was like, well, we're grown men. Let's not do that. And he doubled down. And then it escalated from there. So you put up a boundary. It's like, if you love something, let it go, right? If it comes back, zero. And in terms of all of those four things, time, effort, attention, and money, I've dumped all of me into our relationship. Paul and I. He's not reciprocated that. So in terms of setting up boundaries with the intention of strengthening a relationship, because there is an issue at hand, if he's unwilling to go out of his way to make that happen, or to even just converse, because his bride has gone out of her way to do the exact opposite. I did the same thing with her. We had a disagreement, as you say. I put up a boundary, and instead of having an adult conversation about it, she elected to simply choose silence, and not just from us being where we are, but by me being in her presence, like just not speaking to me, like coming to my daughter's birthday party and just ignoring me, essentially. Like that shit, I don't need that in my life. So in terms of time, effort, attention, and money, they're doing the exact opposite. So in terms of investments, you either pull out or you double down and fix things. So I'm either going to invest more time, energy, attention, and money into something that's already bleeding me dry, or I cut bait. And I've been watching the show Euphoria, which is fantastic in my opinion, but it deals heavily with addiction. And I was late to the party, so I had to start from the beginning, which is, I think, 6 or 8 episodes from season 1. And it's incredible, man, to see the scope of collateral damage that happens around addiction and around the enabling of behavior for the sake of tradition, for the sake of how you were raised, for the sake of normalcy. And in that process, the main character gets a sponsor. And so there's a scene where the sponsor sees her carrying luggage, and he sees her condition and clearly has her best interest in mind, and says, "What you got in the suitcase?" And it's a suitcase full of drugs. And so they get into it, and so she starts to become disrespectful, and he checks her, and he's like, "Yo, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, I'm here to help you." And she's like, "I don't want to lecture," or something to the effect of, "I don't feel like being babied, or you're not my dad, essentially, right? And so he's like, just understand at any given time, this can end. That's your choice. And she's an addict who's high and is on cloud nine because she's got more of that high on that suitcase. It takes a toll on their relationship to where she eventually has to have a conversation with him. He lets her right back into his life because he has taken on that responsibility. I'm not Paul's sponsor, but I got everything that he got in that episode. So in terms of investing, what the fuck am I doing? And the effect that it has had on me and me pulling out of the wedding is going to continue to have a negative effect on me in my household. So I'm literally signing up for the most difficult thing because I understand the benefit is long term. So I'm cool where we stand. And I'm also cool having a conversation. But what I'm not going to do is to continue to dump and invest more into a situation that I get nothing out of.
Okay. I was going to ask you is if your wife was still in the wedding and what was going on.
I haven't even had that conversation yet because things have been so nuts, and I've been I've been trying to figure out which time I want to ruin. And again, without having to have that in my life, the last week and a half, 2 weeks have been on the up. And I understand that that's going to have to plateau and head in the opposite direction because there's a tough conversation coming. But I don't have any intention of ruining what she's got planned and what she's got going on. No intention at all. So they're going to Houston next weekend. Good luck. Don't bring fucking COVID from Texas back here. Por favor.
Who's all in Houston?
I have no idea, man. I have I'm not investing in it, so I have no information. I'm sure I'll get all that before she leaves, and I want to have that so she can check in and, still be a parent from afar. But
I get you.
Like, she's almost 40 going to a bachelorette party, so it's like, how turned up is that going to be? But that's me and my mindset in my almost 40-year-old body. But yeah, she messed her hand up yesterday.
I saw the story. What the hell was in their hand?
Oh my god! So we went to the green belt down by our house with the girls and the dog just to run around, and there's normally a branch somewhere that we pick up and just throw. The dog chases. We play fetch. Wears him and the girls out. Wins all around. So it had been windy that day, and so a big part of the tree fell down. And I went over and I grabbed a branch and just kind of looked it over and picked it up and chucked it. And the dog went and got it, brought it, and was running around. And Colleen wound up grabbing it. So she picks it up and goes to throw it. And in the process of her throwing, the wood splinters and it catches her right palm under her index finger, pointer finger, whatever. And it goes inside of her finger. Almost to the point where on the opposite side of the knuckle, you can push down on it and you can see it moving inside of her finger. So she does that, screams, everything stops. And she's got another half an inch sticking out of her finger. Like, it was a long ass piece, right? And so we get that off. She's like, you guys just keep going. I'm going to go home and address it. I'm like, okay, this looks bad, but okay. She walks back home, not too far away, but she's in pain, so it's like it's a lose-lose situation everywhere now. And so then she comes back and she got a little bit more of it out, but her hand is like her finger is numb now. And she's losing functionality, all of this stuff, right? Swelling, pain is increasing, blah blah blah. So we operate the rest of our evening. We have dinner and put some peroxide on it and then put the girls to bed, and then she's like, go get a blade. So I tried to MacGyver and use my Grey's Anatomy, the very little medical knowledge I've gathered from that, and tried to make a small incision so we could push from the one side that's almost sticking out and to see the head again and pull it out, which in my mind is hella problematic because we don't have very good tools, and if we strike the wrong thing, it could escalate. And so I'm cutting into her finger, trying to get being very careful. It's hurting her like crazy every time. And then finally get to, like, I called my dad. I reached out to my dad. My dad called me, and he just gave us, the what to do if we're going to try and do it. And then we tried it for about 15 minutes. And then I was like, you need to go to see somebody. Go see a pro. And so she went to urgent care, waited 45 minutes to an hour, got seen, got an x-ray. They couldn't get a good angle of it because it was so big. And so then they wound up going to town. They got it out and gave her 5 stitches, a few stitches.
Jeez.
So she's raised, she's walking around with her hand up, trying to protect it and, kind of keep it away from everything. But, it's going to be at least another week. So she's going to be going to Houston with a fresh wound. But she still went and taught school today. So, she's had 2 kids, so Splinter ain't shit. So, yeah, that'll just happen.
Hi, babe. No, no, but not to backtrack too far. I have made it my business not to know anybody's business unless
Gotcha.
they tell me,
Right.
because, like you said, it's energy protection, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have nothing but love for Paul, and I always will. You know what I mean?
I have no, that's the thing. I have no ill will. I hope whatever happens after this, he does in a successful manner. Like, it's not even about like, this isn't the birth of, your nemesis or any of that. Like, it's really not that deep to me. And the principle is so simple, and the answer is even easier. So it's just like, it's just not fun. And so I understand that, but I understand how this works. And then the added layer of addiction, it's like, we're ice skating uphill already. So I understand that, and I'm going to sit back reserved, let them do their thing, because I know my presence there is going to be a draw in the wrong direction.
No, but it's just I'll probably talk to him later and just be like, hey, like, have you tried to reach out and talk to Ryan yet? Because it's something that thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
That's something that would be really cool, because I started this show with him, and I would like to continue. Obviously,
In your opinion, have you had to pull his arm to do your own show?
What do you mean?
This isn't my show, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm as involved as I am, just as like a barometer check. So if you guys get too problematic, I'm really in. If I can add to the story, awesome. If I'm involved with whatever we're talking about, cool. But my object is to not be front and center.
I get
But
you. No,
There's been a pattern of us having to pull his arm to do his own show. And even when he does it, it's like a burden on him. So I'm cool with whatever that means, but I'm not gonna convince someone to do something they don't want to do themselves.
a lot of the issue, I think, was sorry. I have something really cool I want to show you. But this is Paul is. I know that he's had a lot going on that was, not necessarily. I mean, it was his fault. A lot of it, weird addiction stuff and things going on, and that's part of it. That's part of the. That's part of the addiction ride, and that's a lot of what I was wanting this show to be about. Like, yeah, let's get together, shoot the bull, talk about life and kids and everything. I'm not trying to say I'm using Paul, but like Paul is a great example of like how addiction can make life incredibly difficult for you.
He's fucking
and-
in
and-
it. Absolutely.
And I just want to see him be good all the time. And if this is something that helps that, I would love to continue with it. If it's something that's not, I mean, it's going to be his call. So we'll just have to see down the road,
And that's another level to how easy it is of a fix. Like, if he cared about the show, he might want to try and extend an olive branch, or just to have a conversation, right? Like, it doesn't have to be anything serious. It could be through text. I don't care. But like, again, there's an investment that has to be made if you're really into something. I created my show 5 years ago and started it with my buddy, and he wound up falling off, and we're still friends to this day, but I put up a boundary because he wronged me in lieu of the show. And in reflecting back on it, even while it was happening, I knew. I was like I was way more involved because it was my show. Like, I put it together, I started it, whatever. And then he was just like, yeah, I'll be a part of it. And he was just kind of like Paul is, just, he's going to be the color commentary. But just from our conversations at work, like, we always had stuff to say, and it was always, it was good communication, all that. And that was the case when we started the show. However, he loves golfing. And so he had a date that came up, or he was able to play when we were supposed to record, and he just didn't tell me about it. And so instead of stopping and having a conversation, being like, look, I know this is your thing or whatever, but I've got this golf date that I tried to get out of, and it just kind of crept up on me. I would have been like, yo, go golf. Don't let me stop you. Like, we have no timetable for this. Like, this is a hobby at this point. So, but he didn't do that. He told me that his kid wasn't feeling well and that he needed to. I was like, bro, be a dad.
Yeah.
Same energy, right? 15 minutes later, I on my timeline, I see him tagged on the golf course. I'm like, word? And so it's that thing. It's, you invest into something and into someone. And because he started to get, warmed up with the show and how it was going and getting more comfortable behind the mic, we were heading in the right direction. Like, but there's no I don't know, man. It's just, if I'm going to disappoint someone, I'm going to tell them I'm going to disappoint them. Like, and I'm going to own that shit. But like, accountability is at an all-time low. And so you have that same energy. And so I recognize the pattern. And I didn't pull Danny's arm. I wasn't like, yo, what's the deal, man? I was like, if you don't want to do it, or if I'm into this more than you are, just say so. He said so. That was it. I brought on my other friend. I had plans for it, and then it got to be too much, and so I had to pull back. But like, I wasn't disappointed in him not being into it as much as me, because I understood that it was my thing. I understood. But if someone handicaps my ability to understand because they don't have that, that's where it's a problem. And that's where it's a problem with Paul. He handicaps my ability to help him, even though I feel like I'm a decent source of information or compassion or whatever you want to wrap that up into. And it was like, he advertises the show, right? He always does the intro for me and, shout out, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. They moved. He didn't even reach out to me. Like, you're literally, and we joked about that afterwards. And Did I hold him to the fire over that? No, I definitely brought it up and made light of it. And he didn't ask me because he thought I couldn't handle it. He thought I didn't have the equipment in order to get it done and the manpower. He doesn't know what my operation is, and he didn't give me the benefit of the doubt as his dude, who he talks about a moving service. I have to break all that down for that to make sense. That's a lot of energy that I don't need to expend on someone who's unwilling to do it for me. I'm cruising on 40, man. 40 is knocking at the door. My quality of life is going to be based around the people who are around me. Because I found what I like to do. And I think I do it okay. So if there are people in my circle who don't radiate that same positive, and I'm a realist, right? I'm a realist, so I try to make sure that I don't get too wrapped up in things, so I don't overlook how someone else might perceive it. But like, if I don't get that consideration back, dude, what am I doing? I'm pouring more money. What do they call that? A money pit.
Mm-hmm.
I run a business. I understand what it means to cut expenses, and it is a heavy expense on my mental health, on my physical health. Like losing sleep over thinking about having to have the conversation with my wife. You know how much that sucks? So now the disappointment I feel, I get to have that served right back to me in my face. So, yeah, man, I'm not winning on the other side of this thing. But as an adult, as someone who understands process and having to take and make difficult choices, make executive decisions for the sake of yourself and for your family, I'm approaching 40. I better start sometime soon.
Yeah.
Hope he does. Fingers crossed. No ill will. But I'm a fucking grown up, bro. I can't do this much longer. I can't do this. I can't do this childish shit just because you didn't educate yourself. Like, I can't dumb down everything. I can't. I've done it for a long time. I've done it for at least 2+ years. So that's the elephant.
That's the elephant. So before we get talking about my wreck, I suppose I'm going to show you a bunch of really cool stuff that I have from Howard's generation past.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Let me.
So this little katana, my great uncle Tom brought back from Japan because he was in the Marines during World War II, and he somehow ended up on mainland Japan.
Yikes.
So there's that.
And were these sent to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my great grandpa Howard, my grandpa's dad. Here's his shaving kit with the bowl and the brush, and razor blade, and the OG leather strap to sharpen it.
Nice.
It gets cooler. So this is great grandpa Howard's pocket knife. But wait, there's more. I got plenty of, I have all kinds of old knives and stuff. Like one was my great grandma Ruth's, and all this stuff is this is great grandma Ruth's carrying shank. My daughter's namesake, right? And this is the coolest one. So I am the 5th generation Howard to touch this.
Nice.
This is my great grandpa Howard's pocket watch.
Very cool, man.
Yeah. Well, so we went back to Illinois. Was it October? So I tried to do a show from Illinois, and it just didn't happen. When was that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was late November actually. Anyway, so I go there, and my grandpa's like, "Here's all the stuff you're getting," like acknowledging he's getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he was trying to break me.
What do you mean he was trying to break you?
Oh, I was all weepy, and oh, it was the machismo. That's what I was making a ha out of a sensitive moment.
I know, but real men cry macho.
I know. Oh yeah. Have you seen that yet? Anyway,
I started to. I fell asleep, and I haven't circled back yet. I need to. I say it too much, not.
But yeah. So this is all my This is all my stuff now. I got a lot of family history just showed up at my door. Way cool. Anywho, on the 8th, I was rear-ended. I was taking the kids to school, and it was in Queen Creek, Arizona, right there by Santan Flat and the U-Haul. And the funky thing is there's a light that lets Santan Flat and U-Haul traffic go when there's people there for business hours.
Right.
And so that light was green, but the light about a quarter of a mile up the road was not. I saw everyone slowing down, so I slowed down. The truck in front of me slammed on her brakes. I didn't have a place to bail because of people. I was in the left lane. People in the right lane were coming up and lining up. So I didn't have a place to bail. So I'm noticing as we're coming to a stop, I'm like, oh, I'm not even going to touch her. I'm going to miss her by like half a foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. And then right as I'm thinking that, I get slammed. I get slammed. So I get hit on the driver's side in the back. Boom. Pushes me into her bumper, and then I'm pushed over into the right lane. I had enough room the car was still running, so I had enough room to shoot over into the U-Haul parking lot. So that's where I went.
Yeah.
And of course I had all the kids in the car. And by all the kids, I mean 1, 2, and 3, and then Ruthie and Marley.
Right.
We're all in the car. And so the first thing I do is like, I got to check on my kids. So I turn the car off. I hop out of the driver's seat, and immediately I can't stand up straight. Like, like the old man hunched over doing the shuffle.
Yeah.
So that was the angle my back was in. And then my entire, like from my butt down to like the heels of my feet was tight. So I couldn't even bend my knees. Mm-hmm. So I had to like hold on to things as I'm scooting around the car and making sure kids are okay. And, it was a day. It was a day, I tell you.
So
we got that all situated. I sent the car to CarWorks here in Santan Valley. Check them out. CarWorks Collision Repair, and then not State Farm, but USA was like, we can't work with them. They're not a preferred vendor. We can guarantee you all these warranties and ups and downs and yeah. So I said, okay, I'll call them tomorrow, and then we'll set up the tow, and I'll put them to one of your spots, whatever place you want to go. Because I'm trying to expedite all this, just because, life's stressful as it is. Where my rental's fucking dope, by the way. It's like a 2021 Yukon.
Nice.
Oh, bro. But yeah, I'm trying to
Machismo.
Oh yeah, no, that thing is badass. So much room, everything's nice, it all works. Doesn't smell like chicken nuggets yet,
Oh man.
And so yeah, I'm trying to get this all situated and sorted out, and then so I call CallWorks and I'm trying to get this all set up, and they're like, they're like, USA is full of shit. We have USAA cars in here right now. Okay. So I called them. I said, cancel that tow, up yours. Then, so they didn't send out an adjuster. They just took the pictures I took from the scene and typed up a virtual
estimate
and fired it off, and then sent us money.
Like that?
So I was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, well, you see how virtual works? And I said, you don't understand. You didn't send anyone to go out and physically look at this car and go over, or have you been in touch with CarWorks? Because I call CarWorks every day just to see how they're doing. Mm-hmm. And what they can tell me, what information that we can trade back and forth, just so I have the paper trail from both sides on my end. And I said, I know you haven't been in contact with them. I know it. You're full of shit if you're telling me this. And the lady was like, I was like, ma'am, you gotta understand, I'm not mad at you per se. Just understand, I see what's going on, and you're trying to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to sweep it under the rug as quick and fast as possible. But that's not how it's going to work. Until you send someone out there physically to look at this car, I'm not accepting any of this. And she goes, oh, well, and I said, you don't understand. I'm not as blind as what you think I am. And she goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I hate to break it to you, but your job is exactly what my wife does. It turns out that I'm onto your shit.
Right.
And, okay. And so they cut us a check for $4,000, and then CarWorks sent them back a rebill for like $26,000.
Wow. So they totaled it.
Oh, I don't know. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. But
That happened today.
oh yeah,
Damn.
I called him and ripped him a new asshole on Tuesday. CarWorks said you're full of shit, and then gave me all the photo evidence of everything that they found and what they were looking at and underneath it, and like the manpower hours it would take to even get it to like function right.
Yeah, the labor. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And so what is the opposite side of that? You get a check for $4,000, you give it to them. They say, we need 22,000 more. You reach back out to USAA and they go, sorry, you took the 4. Like, what?
Right. Yeah. I'm like,
Is that their business practice? Like,
well, I guess they were expecting more of a back and forth and me not to be involved in it. You know what I mean? Like in between the collision center and them. Because when I called about maybe switching shops, I talked to the owner of the shop. He goes, listen, I'm walking outside of your car now. And I just ran paperwork on it just from outside looking, and it's looking like a total loss. I haven't even taken anything. I haven't been under it. I haven't, it's like, this is a lot of work. I went, yeah, sweet. Yeah. Okay, cool.
It has 30% to do with the actual operation of your vehicle. It's all about it's all about the bottom line. It's insurance. You've been paying into that the whole time, and then when you actually need them, they're going to do the bare minimum until you say something. That's nuts.
Well, and then I was telling
tell Rob Gronkowski he's good.
Should have stuck to the Tide Pods commercials, man. Yeah. Tide Pods.
I'm not trying to draw with or paint with a broad brush. I'm sure USAA is a fine organization. However, they are not doing you justice in this.
Well, I mean, I'm making justice be done, I think is the
Sure, but that's not like customer service. Like, don't have people talking to Rob Gronkowski's goofy ass and having great customer service because it's a commercial, and then when you actually deal with them, they're the opposite of that. Like, just be consistent. That's it.
Yeah, they're sure to thank me for my 11 years of being with with USAA every time I call them. But see, the thing is, USAA was never my car insurance.
Why is that? Is it more?
I had Geico. I had Geico for years. Like when my car got stolen and that was my fault, they were still really good to me.
Yeah.
When I was in that wreck that totaled my truck, they were still really, really good to me. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't have any beef with Geico at all. But when Brittany and I were, got married and we crunched the numbers on everything, it makes more financial sense to go with USAA.
Yeah, there's
and that was I was like, okay, so
that's business.
That's the name of the game. We got 88 kids or whatever we got, and
and they all get benefits being under the USAA umbrella, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So of course it makes sense.
Yeah, because Brittany's dad's retired Air Force. That's how she was on it to begin with.
Sure.
And So I think the big kids can still be under it. And I know that Ruth and Marley will be covered under me. So they can have a USA account. But that's not even the best part. I've been I've been going to see a bone cracker like 3 times a week.
Damn.
Like I'm better today, but to be 100% honest and outright, which is what this show is supposed to be about. Like I'm fucked up.
Yeah.
I am fucked up. It's like in my hips, it's my back, it's down.
Your core.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Because that affects everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have like, is there a parallel between your pain medication and your addiction or your sobriety?
Well, so I got a hold of my buddy Drew. I brought him up a few times. We had him on the show. And I was like, I never had a problem with pain pills and things like that per se. I did a fair share of them, but it wasn't like that wasn't my addiction. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, I am, because I've been sober for so long, I'm really worried that that's going to end up being a problem for me.
Yep.
And, and Drew, he had a big problem with heroin. He goes, okay, first off, this isn't really what your problem is, but I understand your worry. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, listen, I'm a heroin addict. I'm a dope fiend, but there's been times where I have needed medical intervention and I've been able to accept medical intervention with the understanding that it's medical intervention. And if it gets to the point where I'm watching the clock for my next pill, I flush the pills.
Yep.
And I said, I'm like, that's admirable as all fuck.
No shit.
Yeah. And that's a big, strong dude move, to be 100% honest. So
I got that vibe just through text, like just from your answers and like watching the show Euphoria. Like she had, she ODs, and then when she's coming to, like they're asking her what she wants in terms of pain medication, and she's like, and they were like, we can give you fentanyl, and they were like, I don't think you should give me fentanyl, and so she winds up having to take just ibuprofen and Tylenol because her history. And I didn't think that you had the same issue. I thought drinking was your biggest issue.
Well,
but
drinking
I know.
was my biggest issue. It's more of I'm more worried because of my personality and my ability to get addicted to things quite easily. I'm worried about starting a new party.
Oh, and you're in pain.
Yeah.
So you're not like just doing it for the party of it. You're doing it just to be able to operate. Like, slippery slope. Like just having the awareness and the wherewithal, to not take advantage of it when you definitely could.
Yeah, and I didn't want to end up being one of those guys too that was just like, I'm permanently in pain. Don't you understand?
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
you'll be a delight to be around.
I could go to the VA right now and be like, my knees are murdering me. And they're like, well, according to your medical record, this checks out. Here's your script for whatever you want for the rest of your life. Enjoy.
God.
Like, I think they've gotten better about that, but that was
a pipeline.
How it was. That's how it was for a long time. But, yeah, man, like, so that's a big concern of mine. I was dead set on finding a way to like go and get real fucked up for a little bit too. Because I was like, yep, this is the time to do it.
And I'm sure your brain is like, hey man.
Well, you have the perfect excuse. You have the, and then I had to have that real talk with myself about.
With yourself. Absolutely.
Hey man.
Yep.
You recognize this right now for what it is. That's just the demons talking to you.
If I had a budget, I could CGI a devil on one shoulder and then an angel on the other.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been able to do that? Have you been able to have that insight in real time? Because
I don't know.
I talk to myself a lot.
Well, so I've brought this up before. It's, the urge for me to drink is always there.
Sure.
So I'm always able to be like, that's stupid. Like you don't even have an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And so now my brain was like, aha.
Yep. Yep. It's like that cliche. You're only loyal as your options. So like when your brain senses and literally can flood your system with the appropriate it will release whatever it needs to convince you that that's going to be the good thing for you, because it has been in the past. Man.
Yep. And then so I had to have that conversation with myself, and I don't interrupt the wifey's wine,
Sure. With your own.
and I didn't this through, and I won't through all this.
Yeah.
But there's times where she's sitting there with her glass. I'm like,
Yep. Yep.
I need to go look away.
Yeah, that's, man. Well, good thing you're not a wine guy.
No. But I could be.
Yeah. Exactly. Yikes.
This thing's sharp as fuck.
I needed it last night, man.
I'm sorry.
I said I needed that last night.
Oh yeah.
Because I was using.
Now you can just call me.
I was using razor blades and like just had it soaking in hydrogen peroxide, and then had some whatever that orange prep that they put on before you do surgery. I had a kit that had some of that. I put I did the most, man. And then but like I was like trying to cut myself and I couldn't. I'm like, oh man, this isn't gonna be good. Took some fire to the blade, made it hot, still didn't make any difference. It's like, oh man. I hope all of what I just said is not unethical or whatever.
Hey man, I'm the master of that stuff.
Yeah?
For real. Oh yeah. I love it. Like one of the things I did, one of the coolest things I did in the Marines was I took the live tissue training. They call it an enhanced something or other medical blah 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 to cover up what it is.
Right.
Have I talked about this on the show before?
You did briefly. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, so
I had that
basically,
bump in the top of my head,
yes.
and that's what we were talking
And I was
about.
like,
Yeah.
I can take care of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but basically, what they do is they take a bunch of really medicated pigs out, and then there's two portions of it. And the first portion is they take a drugged up, asleep, not going to feel anything pig. I mean, it's still not ethically sound, but and they'll give this pig a wound, and they'll say, "Here's your equipment, fix it, stop it." So that was pretty cool. And then the second part is you get in all your gear and, pardon me, I had to burp. Like we don't have any live ammunition, but you have your gear and you have your weapon and all your shit. And then they do a combat scenario where like they'll blow a pig up and they'll shoot one in the face with a shotgun and like you
have to respond.
Big open wounds and they go save this pig.
Yeah.
And that shit was rad.
Man, that is trial by fire. Wow.
fucking rad.
So do they use pigs because it's close to our dermis?
It's they're more organally sound to humans than.
There it is. Because I know their hide is really thick.
Oh yeah, that's how I learned. That's what I learned to do stitches on. Was pig hide. So I'm not scared of human skin. I got that easy.
So
that's just in and out.
So in terms of helping my wife last night, my resistance to it was not me being willing to see it. Blood, guts, her in pain. I've held her hand through 2 pregnancies.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot that'll take for me to worry about that. I was just worried about 1, my experience, and 2, my tool set. I had neither of which to help her in the situation. So it's like that kind of training. Like I would not be, I know to call you next time. I'll be like, hey man, got a 3/4 inch long. Can you come? And you'll be like, 35 minutes.
I will wake up from a dead sleep and be like, yes.
And show up with your grandma's knife and do work. That'd be awesome.
and just here we go.
And you go right into it. Oh man, that'd be great.
Yeah, but I was like, yeah, maybe I'd get in the medical industry. Then I was like, you hate math.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes. Yeah,
So I was like, oh, okay, no.
I guess that's where I get a lot of my gift for math is from my dad, because he loves the process. He loves studying. He loves researching. He loves figuring out, and he has, the knowledge because of his education to be able to do it. And so we have like a disagreement in principle with college, the institution, and we were able to share each other's experience from our first person point of view on the show we're working on, just in the conversation that had nothing to do with what we were talking about, but we just wound up talking about it. And it was crazy. It was crazy to hear his opening statement and to be so positive about it, and then to tell me his story, and then to acknowledge that and how dope it is, how great of an impression it left on him, and then I have to shit all over that with my experience. So it was just like, it was a father-son talk, and he's like, man. But at the end of it, he said, I had no idea that was what your experience was. Like, he played a part in it because of his role as my father during that time, but like, he, I couldn't convey that how I can now. So like, it was a crazy conversation, but it was really good. And we still have our same stances, but like based off of our experience. And so I just acknowledge that I'll never stop my kids from pursuing that if it's something that will be tangible, not just for the sake of doing it because that's tradition, what all the peer pressure and stuff. But yeah, like if it works for you and you want to be, if you're into math, go to college.
Yep.
Like straight up.
The thing I still can't wrap my head around it. It's why in the world would, if high school is supposed to be my, general education that's supposed to get me ready for life.
Yep.
Why in the world am I going to college to take advanced stuff that I don't want to learn? That I won't, why can't, because history has always been my favorite thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't my ass just go sit in a history lecture and just get bombarded until I can't history no more? And that's my degree.
How do you transfer that into capitalism?
Well,
that's what college is for. College is not an institution based in find the thing you like and get the most information on it to gain the experience in it so you're successful early on, right? That's the premise. And that's cool when it's not like wartime. Or that's cool when it's wartime and you're like, you need engineers, you need this, you need that, and that just kind of trickled down to where we're at now, to where the prime, the core of what they're trying to get people to be educated on is to provide a service for the system, is to provide a service for capitalism, right? So it's not about you finding the thing, making enough money to be happy and be good at it. That's not what it's for. That's what people pursue it as. That's why it's becomes a big problem. It's because it's not, we have Google. You can literally do that now. You can do that on your own now. Like the idea that do your own research is a bad thing shows how we use it. It's not the tool, it's how we use it. So you're able to use it in so many distracting and pleasing ways that it'll distract you from, like an institution, how college works, to where you have, it has to force you to be responsible and to, to learn time management, to do all these life skills that you learn through college. However, like, just think about like CRT, how they're fighting the curriculum. They keep skimming down what the necessity is for their kids to learn because they don't want them to feel bad, right? They don't want them to grow up having a complex about their brutal ancestors. But like, that doesn't parlay into like math and other things that we don't need to learn. I can't even say some of the stuff I want to talk about right now because, one, it's not easy to say. Two, I haven't applied it in my adult life. The Pythagorean theorem, is that how you say that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But like,
good old Pythagoras.
I was in pre-calc as a senior. Why? I don't need to be able to do it. I'm not going to NASA. I don't need to be in, like, I don't have any long form math needs in my life. So it's like, even in high school, middle school, it's all of that is to get us ready for capitalism, to be able to provide, to be a service to the system. It's not about us being acclimated to be able to when tax time comes, you feel confident doing it yourself. To when, you go to your local meeting of your legislature or whatever, and you're able to sit in, like you said you like to watch C-SPAN.
Mm-hmm.
That is unusual based off of their viewership.
Yeah.
So
I like hearing it from the horse's mouth itself. I don't want to hear a clip.
And as a culture, we should all want to do that innately because it's we the people, right? So, but we are just ushered into this white picket fence, American dream, yada, 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 to where if you like, just think of the military. Think about the idea that they're spending so much more money again on defense and they're going to send people over there again. And it's like, they're spending so much money and they're influencing so many young people that it's all wartime. It's all around the idea of war is necessary. And it's because of capitalism, because it's all feeding the machine. It's not about America being the best it can be and keeping their stamp around the world. It's intimidation. Like, straight up. And, it's, unfortunately, that's what it is. However, you're into C-SPAN just because people can get into C-SPAN if there was something worth watching. And all we see now is a bunch of people filibustering, is a bunch of people are bloviating, and it's all, it's all theater, right? So at this point, politics is now being used as entertainment the way reality TV does for a sitcom. And it's gross. So I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go that length into college or whatever, but like, yeah, it's not, unfortunately, it's not built around you being good at a thing. It's where can you apply yourself into American consumerism. And there are plenty of places for people to do it. But like I was talking about earlier about your geography at birth. Like, imagine you being that same person, but just in a different country somewhere. Like, the amount of problems you would have would fly out the window. It would break down to simply you having a job, you liking where you're staying, and then, being able to take care of yourself and your family. Like, it breaks down to a very basic thing, but there's so much stuff that gets in the way because there are cracks in the armor. The American shield, the American flag. So it's like, I did a move today and a guy had a bumper sticker essentially that said, "We don't call 911," and a picture of a gun. And I was like, I just closed my eyes and I thought about being in like Hong Kong somewhere. And you're never going to see, like, you wouldn't see some dumb shit like that. And so then it's like,
dude,
my buddy Danny who was helping me. I go, so what does he do if someone needs CPR? Click click. Boom. Like, dang. And then the guy comes out and he sits in his car and it's just like watching us essentially move the stuff, and he looked exactly like I thought he would.
Did he also have a Back to Blue somewhere on there too? That's my favorite.
He did.
That's my fucking favorite person.
It's always got to be the combo.
That's my favorite person. Come and take it. Come and take it. Who the fuck you think's gonna come take it, Chief?
Bro, if you saw these auctions online with confiscated weapons, there's never a shortage in guns. Like, it's wild. Yeah. It's so wild. Boy. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Dude. My favorite person in the world, and they've kind of died off. I don't see too many 3%er stickers.
Oh, yeah?
Out in the wild anymore, but they're my favorite. They're my favorite people. Because, they're the 3% that actually stand up against a tyrannical government if it comes down to it.
Oh, yeah. I was
They're usually like...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
They're usually shaped like a McDonald's quarter pounder, and
see, you know how they always have like these prank shows, to where it's situational comedy essentially. I had a dream the other night to where someone did a show, and they did that. They put people who were clearly not up to snuff in life or death situations that were like controlled so nobody would get hurt, but like just record it and see the ghosts, see the souls jump out of these people's bodies, because when push comes to shove, they will not have that same energy, and then just like, oh, prank or punked, you've been punked, ha ha ha, and then just walk away. And just give them a little dose of trauma to deal with and see how they react, because they've always got a strong opinion, but they don't look able-bodied. Oh yeah, did I talk about this terrain run we did?
No, you said you did it, but you didn't go into depth.
So it was 3 miles. It was at Rawhide, by Wild Horse Pass Casino, and so we brought the whole family. So I went into it with the mindset I'm going to accommodate my girls, right? So my wife has a good time because she signed up for it. She was like, "You want to do it?" I was like, "Let's do it together. Go." And so she took care of all of the arrangements and everything. I was just gonna be there and we're gonna do it. And so I carried our 3-year-old half of the course, and then they still had the actual obstacles. So like they had certain areas that they had designated for the kids, but if the kids weren't going to do it, they just had to go to the side. But our girls wanted to do everything, so they did pretty much everything. And so like I scaled down this mound of dirt that had a cargo net like embedded in it with my 3-year-old on my back.
Nice.
I jogged like the last quarter of the in between the obstacles with her on my shoulders, so like I'm passing by all these people, and of course it's muddy and stuff and all that. They had the rope climb, and it was probably 20-30 feet. Nailed that shit, dog. Like, I always struggle with that, like in high school and in college, intramurals or whatever. Man, I'm in a good spot right now, because I got up to the top of that thing, and it's like at the bottom it says ring the bell. There's like, it has like, one of those truss things to where there's 12 ropes that people can climb at the same time. And everybody's struggling. And I'm just like, yo, this must be a lot harder than I give myself credit for, because I used to struggle, but I'm in a different place with my body. And so I joke with my wife all the time when we watch American Ninja Warrior. I was like, outside of the grip strength stuff, I'll be able to hang. And she's like, yeah. Fucking nailed that shit. Got done with it. And then every other obstacle was cool. They weren't very difficult. Like, it wasn't. When we got done, I said I could go do it again by myself and just like jog all the way through it. Like, it was fun. It was a fun time. And then they had like this They had monkey bars. You know, pretty standard thing. Everybody's struggling with them. Everybody's struggling with them. My wife gets up there, gets a couple of hands up, gets to the next bar, falls. I'm like, okay. And then this lady who's behind her, she just puts her arms up and walks right through the mud and just goes, "Yep, I'm doing it. So that happens right in front of me. I'm just like, yo, I'm again approaching 40. It's like in my mind when I'm 20, 40 is old, right? I get up on the first bar and I'm like kind of guesstimating because I used to love the monkey bars when I was young and I've got long arms. So I get the first one, I reach out, grab the fourth one, swing like a goddamn monkey, 2 more moves and I'm done. And everybody's like, whoa. I'm like, whoa, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to be like, I'm not a competitor, like none of that. So, but it definitely felt good to get to do it. And then every other obstacle, like scaled it, knocked it out, whatever. Colleen did almost everything. Yeah, man, it was a good time. No evidence. I brought my GoPro. I had my battery charged. I had my backup charged and ready to go. I forgot my chest mount.
Did they not have people out there shooting it?
Kind of, but the not only, I mean, I might have wound up on the website somewhere, who knows, but yeah, it wasn't like, the signage wasn't great. It wasn't like very clear where you were going, and you know, if you're doing something physically exerting, you kind of want direction, so that way you're not trying to figure that out while you're exhausted. So I'm sure some people were disappointed in that, but overall, for what it was, what it cost, and how we were able to do it, and how it was organized, like I would do it again.
Nice.
But not with a bad back.
No.
Definitely not.
No, you won't be catching me doing any of that shit anytime soon. It's
That sucks, man. And I'm telling you, like, I had that conversation with my my older buddy who we do moves together, and like he has a tortilla route, and his buddy's selling his route, and he was like, and I thought of you, and I thought of a couple other people. I was like, man, if we all like went in on this and split the work up, like he's making like $2,500 a week, and he's not doing it all himself. Like if we did it all ourselves and we just split that up, like however that worked, like, and he does it early in the morning, so he's done by like 8, 7, 8, and so then he goes right into, you know, you can have your family time and you're still physically exerting yourself and you still feel like a man, you know what I mean? Like you have that, we were talking about machismo, like part of that is being able to still do something physically active. And then like, and I was having that conversation with him and you text me like, got in an accident. I'm just like, unbelievable. Like just the timing, how it works with everything. So I was like, man, of course my first concern was making sure you were right, but I was like, it's one of those things to where like any other time in the last 3 years, if we had had that same thought, it would have been a different story, you know, in terms of pursuing it, just looking into it, whatever. I was like, man, when your back is out, like I had one of the guys that helps me, he pulled his back out trying to do the most because one of his guys, or the help that was supposed to meet him, didn't show. He moved a 3-seater sofa by himself, pulled his back. And I'm like, yo, man. And I'm 6'3", $190. Like I can handle most stuff. And I would probably have done the same thing. He's 5'6", $190. And so like, yeah, dude, it was when he told me about it, I was like, oh man, get better, like take it easy. Don't do it for $50-$60 for one delivery. Like it's not worth it.
yeah.
And I know he doesn't wear back support. I know he might have worn gloves, but like, yeah, there's a level of liability I'm not willing to do.
Yeah, no. Even my most cockstrong days, you just see me going.
And my wife, she didn't really do anything wrong. She just picked up a stick and tried to throw it. She's out of commission, trying to do anything. And then she taught her Zumba class tonight, like a fucking soldier. I told my dad because I called him and everything, and I sent a picture of the thing. He's like, "Damn, that thing is big." It's like tell Coach he is a soldier. Oh man. So, but just like with the accident, like you had just enough wherewithal to avoid the accident, and all it took was the chain reaction of the next person behind you not being on the same page. Boom. Now you're in a different, and your world is in a different spot than what it was 2 weeks ago.
Well, do you remember we talked about listening to kids' music,
Yeah.
establishing that bond with them?
Hmm.
That's what we were doing. We were taught because Wyatt was like, listen to this song. And I was like, I can see why you like it, but it's not my cup of tea. So
Hmm.
I was like, you gotta understand. I'm gonna say this, and it's not me being. I'm not judging you for this. I'm hypercritical about music. He goes,
Yeah.
well, what do you mean? I said, okay, well, this band in particular, I'm not gonna give them no free hype, no free clout. It's like this song sounds just like all their other songs. Lyrically, it's pretty weak. Like it sounds good, but it's the same thing that they've always done. And this song is about someone dying and how they miss them. It's not my type of. It's not. It wouldn't be my go-to jam, you
Right.
know. And then Scarlett made a playlist on my Pandora account, so I was like, okay, let's see what the hell this is.
That's cool.
We just been doing stuff like that. And then what was it? What was the day I texted you that Limp Bizkit song?
Was that yesterday?
Was it yesterday?
I think so.
Yeah, yesterday. So I said, okay. Here's a band from my youth who released a song mid 2021,
Yep.
and it brings me joy. And it was Limp Bizkit's Dad Vibes.
Uh huh.
Did you listen to it yet?
I have not. That just came out.
Yeah, they released a whole album. It's called Still Sucks.
Damn. So, without spoiling it, can you give me your take on it?
It makes me happy.
Because
Like so well, it's very reminiscent of like, remember when you were young and Limp Bizkit was the shit, and you're always like, I did it all for the nookie, and then here I am rolling. It's my way or the highway.
so you can take that cookie and stick it up your
Stick it up. Yeah. So it's reminiscent of that, but it's also like acknowledging uh, that they're older,
Gotcha.
kind
That's
of thing,
no, that I'm interested.
dude. So it's like, so I sent it to Britt, and I was like, yes, I have serious dad vibes.
So you showed that to your daughter?
Yeah, Scarlett was sitting up front with me, and all the kids were in the car, and her face the whole time was,
She didn't get it, huh?
and I said, you gotta understand, at one point in time, these guys were at the top of music in the
Yeah.
United States. She was like, what? And I was like, yes, exactly. But
Yep.
and we listened to the band's called Cave Town, and they have a song called Devil Town. So immediately I was like, okay. But I listened to it, and do you remember like pop punk? And it's like every pop punk band had a song about how they hated their hometown,
Like,
right?
wow. All who did all the
Well, like
small things
Blink 182,
like that?
and and then I got a Day
Those
to
kind of
Remember.
bands.
I hate this town. It's so
Yep.
fucked up. It's so washed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was this. It sounded like a pop punk band, but more modern, and it sounded like it was recorded in a box.
Ooh.
Like it wasn't. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like the highest studio quality like pop punk stuff that we heard,
Gotcha.
kind of thing. And I was like, I fucking dig this.
Nice.
You know? Yeah, I listened to, and Mila said, well, can you look up this song? It was at the end of the new Ghostbusters movie. And I said, okay. And we had to have that, and I told, before I get into that, I broke down to Scarlett why it reminds me of how stuff I listened to growing up. And here's where it's interesting and cool. Here's here's the issues I have with it, but I have more positives than issues with it. So I enjoy it.
Sure.
And, because I'm hypercritical about music. And Milo was like, well, listen to this song. And the girl, I wish I could remember her name, but her voice is gorgeous.
Mm.
And but the song itself, it had some like funky tempo swings to it in the chorus and in between the verses. So that was pretty interesting and cool. But lyrically, it was every girl feels sad after a breakup.
Yeah.
And I was like, meh, 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 meh.
The Taylor Swift
Doesn't
template.
do it for me, homie. But I'm gonna have to look this girl up. Her voice was amazing. I wonder what else she sung, because she's got a really, really pretty voice. So today, on the way in, we listened to Roy Orbison, Patsy Cline, Sam Cooke, and I got into I think those two ladies conspired to kill Sam Cooke, but that's neither here nor there. And then,
How'd you get into that with your kids?
because I was just saying, because they were asking me, the Temptations played, and they're like, when was this made? So Milo's back Googling when songs came out
okay.
and stuff, and she's like, what happened to Sam Cooke? And I was like, some fucking bullshit. Let me tell you how that story's bunk as fuck. Everybody that ever knew him was like, no fucking way.
Yeah. And that's the power of information, right? Having access to that. Or the threat, I guess, depending on your stance.
Right. But then I was like, okay, do you want to hear some funky stuff? And they go, oh, I guess. I said, well, this band's from Finland. And they go, okay, I'm interested. And they've been a band for like almost 30 years at this point. And they've had 3 lead singers that have all been females. And the first one was a classically opera-trained singer. Their second one was a poppy, rocky lady. And the one now is a kind of a mix between them both. So I had them all listen to a song from both. And I was like, tell me what you think about that. And, Milo was like, oh, I love the first lady's voice so much, and it's very pretty. And Scarlett's like, this sounds a lot like fantasy music, and I love it. And Wyatt's like, they put, and Wyatt was like, wow, the piano is really good, and yeah. So we did that, and I said, okay, I got another thing here for you. So I played that Ellie Goulding Lights song for him.
Yep.
And they were, of course, all 3 were like, this is great. And I said, this song is great, but you want to hear something cool? And I pulled up my buddy. You can look at Burden of the Sky on Pandora and Spotify if you want. That's my buddy Rick's band. A guy I've known since preschool.
Yeah.
He's their drummer. And I said, now here, they did this cover during COVID and released their cover of Lights. And they're all like, oh my God, this is so great. It's so cool. It's a totally, I was like, but do you see how it's the same song, but it's a totally different song?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And I said, yeah, but you hear that drummer? Yeah, that's my boy.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, we've been trying to explore music, and that feels good. That's like something I can relate to a lot better with everybody.
Yeah. And that they're not completely turned off by it. Like, you're so old, Dad. You're, da 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 da. Because that can happen too.
Yeah, but what do you get? What do you got for me?
Yep.
Okay, now you tell me what that song makes you feel. All right, all right. So here's your song. We listen to it. Pause. No next song. Talk to me. help me understand why this resonates with you. Help me help so I can help me. It's going to help me understand you as a person better. That
Absolutely.
kind of thing.
It's that process. You're laying down the building blocks for them to get it, to where when they hear one song, but it's by a different artist in a different genre or whatever, they can have appreciation for it, as opposed to dismissing it because it's not the right genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this isn't my type of music.
It's very easy to do that. Very easy to do that. And music is so subjective anyway that, I mean, as a former DJ, it's like I used to love playing the remix of Lights by Ellie Goulding. It's a very melodic, low up tempo, like maybe like 110 BPMs. So it's upbeat enough for you to get into it and dance, like Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars, same tempo. But her voice and the orchestration, the arrangement around it is really clean. It sounds amazing on the rooftop. Like it's like looking up at the stars and listening to that song. It's dope. And so I like playing it. I remember I had somebody come up and complain about it. Can you play the regular version? Huh?
No.
Like, I'm not a playlist. Like, that's one thing I do not miss not being in there is the subjectivity of music and people not liking that version, or when they come in halfway through and they're like, "Can you play it again? I missed the first part." Oh. It's like,
Did you ever get into the like it was like during the rise of Skrillex? Did you ever get into any of that?
there's a couple Skrillex tracks that I played. Absolutely.
Yeah, what was it, the Nice Sprites and something?
Nice Sprites was one. The other one I played was really aggressive, but I don't remember the title off the top of my head. But no, I like to challenge people's expectations because there's a ceiling when you have expectations and you hear something that's different. If you're not open-minded to it, you'll tune out, or you'll disconnect from the moment or from the soundtrack hearing that song in that environment provides. So I just did my thing, and then I would purposely play older songs that were sampled or that were interpolated that had become popular, and I would fuse them together. I would blend them together, transition, whatever, and that usually gets a positive reaction of people, and it educates them, and it makes them not hear those two songs the same again. Because when you put two songs together, they create something else. They create a different kind of vibe. And there's certain songs that they have a pocket that it's pure. And so like that Lights, the remix, I would blend that and transition into Everything She Wants by George Michael. Because it's got that 80s synth feel. And I blew this lady's mind. Like, she had rented a table or a booth that was on the balcony. It's on the roof. It's a rooftop bar. And so she had her friends or whatever, and she was so, the way they used to set birthday parties up, like they would give them the expectation that I was catering to them because they spent a certain amount of money. That's
No.
that's that's true to a degree, but it's a very small degree. But I'm very accommodating, and I'm a people pleaser by nature. So when someone starts to tell me the kind of music they know or they like, I have a couple different ways to go with it. And so she told me that she liked Elle Goulding, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna play Lights, but I'm gonna play the version I like because of the setting. And her whole party reacted positive to it, and so that made her feel even better about the song she liked. And they were older, they were pushing 40, and so I saw the BPM and I heard the cadence of the song, and I'm like, that's got George Michael written all over it. And so I put the beat in first near the bridge of the track, and of the Elle Goulding track, and then she heard it, which is the hallmark as a DJ. You want, when I'm in a crowd and I hear another song coming and I know what it is, it gives you a feeling of warmth. And so she already was happy because I was playing something that she liked. Her people got into it, and then I played George Michael, and her people went nuts, and it blew her mind. I did that within the first 10 minutes of them being there. Like they're eating appetizers. but it's something that it creates a certain energy, and that was a fantastic night. And if you cap it off as, oh, I've only heard the radio version, so that's the only one I like you're handicapping yourself to your own enjoyment.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's something I definitely like doing, but I'll bypass everyone holding their phone up. Play this. Nah, none of that. None of that. That's so annoying.
Every every once in a while, I'll get into my into my post hardcore vibes. Like today,
Mm-hmm.
when I was out, driving by myself, and I have a really strong appreciation for a band called Haste the Day,
Okay.
and they had an album that they released. They did like a one time show. I don't have any like details of where the show was or where, but they had like all the old members of the band
Mm-hmm.
play with them too, kind of thing. So it was like a anniversary reunion, also album release thing,
Sure.
and they released a live album off of this concert, and it's called Haste the Day versus Haste the Day, with all the and so it's you can tell who the musicians are and where they're at and when they were with the band and where they left the band kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
based on how they play and how they sing or how they scream kind of thing,
Yeah.
or how close they are to the microphone. you know it's just it's little stuff like that too where it's like, man,
There's definitely some music like playlists where it's like a workout or a motivation playlist. There's a song by a group called GTA that's called Break Your Neck. It's one of the hardest songs I've ever heard. And I've heard like, death metal and the hardest stuff. Like I've heard all that stuff. And this is of the electronic version. So it's aggressive and if you ever watched any kind of movie that had to do with sci-fi, it could be terrifying. It could be triggering. This song has a level, and the way that the build works up in the song, it's so aggressive, and it's like I can run through a wall listening to that song. Like it pumps me up so much, and it is break your fucking neck, bitch. Boom. It's not PC at all, but it's like if I'm going into battle, I'm listening to that song. And it's gonna be a problem whoever's on the other side of that, because I'm listening to that song. And it is bonkers.
Did I tell you about the time that I sent? It was one of the nights that we were up late and Wyatt had already gone to bed, and Scarlett's always already up in her room doing her thing. So it was just me and Mila hanging out, and so we started listening to music. And I said, "Have you ever heard of Body Count?" And she goes, "No." And I said, "Stand by."
Oh no.
Well, it's like we ran through a bunch of old, like this old hip hop and rock kind of thing, and
Sure.
it was like the last song before she went to bed, and I played her "Cop Killer."
Oh man. Before bed?
Yeah. so, so we say goodnight, and she gives me a hug. I love you too, or whatever. And then she goes, "I'm a cop killer."
Oh no.
It was,
Gotta be
it was
careful,
just
man.
right there, right there in my heart. I was like, I did it.
You did it. No, there's definitely some music that I will not show my daughters, and I can't put a date on it, but no time soon. No time soon.
Like, oh no, there's definitely songs I won't play for the kids. There's definitely music I wouldn't play for the kids.
I think
I didn't
Cop,
think that
Cop
one was.
Killer Cop Killer might be on there.
Well, she's at the like
How old is she?
her dad's. She's 11.
Okay.
Yeah, like
No. You don't need to justify it, man. There's no judgment.
No, I'm
judgment
not.
at all.
No, I'm trying to think of like there's stuff like I wouldn't sit down and listen to a Guar album with the kids,
Sure.
but
Insane Clown
there's a
Posse.
couple stuff. I've never been an ICP fan. I can appreciate what they've done and the fan base and what they've built for themselves, but they aren't my cup of tea.
You wouldn't go here. Check these goofballs out.
Yeah, yeah, not my style.
Yeah.
But like they have a song called "Immortal Corruptor." It's beautiful and metal at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was like, here, these guys rule. They look like Power Rangers bad guys.
Well, my oldest, she's only 6, so she's like, we listened to Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk, and they go, too hot, hot damn. She knows damn. She knows damn isn't a word that she's supposed to use, so she goes, hot dog. And she like takes pride in not saying the bad word. So I'm at that stage, and I would love to hang on to that innocence as long as I can, because once it goes, it is gone.
We finally got Ruthie to quit saying "damn it." Because every little thing she'd do, she'd be, damn it. And we were watching.
It makes you laugh every time, because that's
Yep,
hilarious.
and they're like, yep. We were watching. We were watching Yellowstone, and there was something on the show where the guy yells "fuck you," and Ruth goes "fuck you." No, 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 no.
How
We're crossing.
are your kids with devices?
They're in them. If Scarlett's not sleeping, she's on it, on her phone for sure. Mila's pretty good about it so far. Wyatt's been told that he can bring the phone that his dad gave him, but he only gets like an hour at a time because we had issues with it, because it was when it was time for him to put the phone away or whatever, he was an asshole.
Oh yeah, I can relate.
So, I mean, it's such a weird, it's a different dynamic to parenting, I think, especially in
We never
a
had
split
to
house.
deal with that, dude. We never
Yeah.
had to deal with any of that. We can't
like
relate.
especially in a split house. I think if push comes to shove and it was if everyone was just here all the time, I think the only one that would have a phone would be Scarlett,
Yeah.
because that was about the time I got to carry the brick in the backpack, because just in case shit hits a fan, you have a way to get a hold of us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because she's at that age where she's going to the mall and hanging out with people in different places. So, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yep.
But no, Milo and Wyatt, I don't think. Well, maybe Mila. She's such a good kid. I don't know.
It's how they use it, man. It really is. My oldest, she's finally showing signs of developing the habit of closing her iPad and putting it back on the charger, because what they would do is they would watch their iPad with 14% and get pissed off as soon as it died on them, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to deal with this attitude because I didn't turn off your iPad. So why don't we start plugging it in after we're done using it, and this problem just disappears? They're kids, so
Yeah.
they don't do it most of the time. But then when they do it and they don't have that problem, and then they watch it and they watch enough, and we tell them to stop, and then we go eat dinner or something, I'm like, did your iPad work the whole time? And she just smiles at me. I was like, that feels pretty good, doesn't it? To not have to get upset about that. She said, yeah. And that was the end of it. That was my
Yep.
tiny, tiny W. But like, she's getting it. And so the youngest is the most hard-headed. So she dropped it, cracked it. And then at some point she just started picking at the glass when she was watching it. So then she developed a hole. You can see the guts of the iPad now. And so I'm like, and so she goes, ouch. I said, ouch what? And she goes, my finger. And she showed it to me, and it wasn't bleeding or anything. Or she's she's hypersensitive on blood right now. So anytime there's a cut or anything, she goes, "Is there blood? Is it blood?"
Yeah.
So she goes, "Is it blood?" And I go, "How did you do that?" And she showed it to me, so I took it away. I was like, "That's gone." She got really upset about it, but I'm like, this is not what you're supposed to do with this thing, and you chose to do this, so let's take away the ability for you to do that. So we'll replace it at some point, and she's using her sister's when I allow her sister to use mine, because mine is 12.9 inches iPad Pro. It's beautiful. It's the only one that has Minecraft on it, because the ones they have are like 6 and 7 years old. I wasn't tripping on it being broke, right? So, but yeah, it has Minecraft on it. So when I allow her to use my iPad, then Anna gets to watch her sister. So they still get to watch it. Anything they want to watch on their iPad, we can put on a TV somewhere. So it's not a huge deal, but it is an active part in their life. And I played video games for hours and hours and hours. I turned out okay, I think.
You're doing all right.
It's just the application, and because there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to apply or to be taken from your hand-eye coordination. There's a whole lot, like just reading and writing and doing normal stuff throughout the day. Like, it helps out tremendously. And then when you get in the thick of things and you have to be competitive and whatever, it leads right into that. So there's a community around it too. So like there are plenty of benefits from it, but it is a slope that has glistening with ice. So it can turn into a problem, but they're doing pretty good right now.
Yeah, Wyatt got on Roblox, and the other day he goes, "Oh, hey, my friend from first grade is on."
Mm-hmm.
Or my friend from kindergarten's on. So, oh, yeah, I don't even go to that school, but it's good to see him. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rylan brought up Roadblocks because Colleen takes them on Wednesday nights with her when she does her Zumba class, and the play area is essentially video games. And so she was playing Minecraft on a different device on like Nintendo Switch. And so she was like, "Do I need to get a Switch in order to do this kind of mode?" I was like, "No, we just need to change the settings." So I went in and changed the settings, and she just loves it so much more now because I opened up the floodgates of what she could make and all that. And and she was like, "Have you heard of Roblox?" I was like, "No, I haven't. What is it?" It's, something similar. And I go, "We'll get to that point, girl. Like, don't just abandon this thing because you heard about another new shiny thing. Like, if you like this, let's get good at this first, and then that'll translate over to Roblox." So she's
Roblox,
into it, but
Roblox is tricky. You gotta be careful. Make sure your credit card's not linked to it.
yeah, dude, like that is something that she doesn't even have to consider. So like, and that's the same thing with Minecraft. Like the marketplace, you can just kids will and they don't know any better. It said green after I pushed it. Oh, it keeps seeing green after I push it. That means good, right? They do not care at all.
I remember when like Minecraft first came out, you could play it on like the Xbox 360. And I was living in my buddy Danny's garage with them, the Farragos, who I love. And he goes, "Have you ever played this?" I was like, "I've heard about it." He goes, "Okay." And then 2 days later, we're like, "We should probably go do something else." That game is crazy addictive. You can get into you can do some real cool world building kind of stuff. And that's the kind of games I like to play. Like probably my biggest thing I like doing now is, and I've always loved the Civilization games where you can pick the ancient emperor you are and then world build.
Loved it.
I've got the latest one on the Nintendo Switch right now.
Hey,
dude, that's what I do. If I'm not, and then I like doing all the different emperors and learning how to play the game with the emperor and what works best for them and where and what.
Yep.
And I think it's just gonna make me better for when I take over the world. I'll know how to do it.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to think about the date. The last time I played Civilization. I know that internet was barely a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like The Sims, the create your own world, the RPG. I played World of Warcraft, and like I tried Fortnite. The buzz. I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
Let's be in the know with this. I'm just like, man, this is basic as hell. Like it's the same thing
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over and over and over and over again. And at least with those world builders, like you work towards something.
Yep.
Like the idea that you can just buy a pack and then go fuck a bunch of people up and then do that repetitively for hours is like, so it's cool.
See, I used to love the Call of Duty games.
Oh yeah,
So
I
I played
same thing. Yep.
play the story mode. I'd always play the story mode first, and then when it got to like you can go online and then do different areas and things, and then the zombie ones, and that was a lot of fun. I always sucked at Halo. I could never figure Halo out.
I was decent at Halo, but Halo was Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was a PS3 and 4, so it was a different gaming system. So I played it when I went to like my buddy's house or whoever had it, and I could hang, but I never got into it for that sake. I was Call of Duty.
Yeah, when Halo like 2 first came out, that was when I would like discovered drinking. So I was better at that than Halo.
Yeah, Fortnite is basically just the latest iteration of that stuff. So I'm not big on getting into something that's just an extension of what I had already done.
Yeah,
If that makes any sense.
get you. No, that makes all the sense.
Like, if I take something different or it adds to what I've already done before, cool. But if it's just another thing just dressed differently,
No thanks.
like going to the bar as a 40-year-old, didn't have the same effect.
No, going to the bar as like, I don't even think I'd have fun at a bar now.
Yeah.
Like because I was listening to that Haste the Day album I was telling you about, and I was talking to Brittany. We're our way back from the chiropractor, and I said, "Here I am, listening to this post-hardcore band at a reasonable level and enjoying my drive." It's not blowing out my car speakers.
The appropriate level
Hey.
is hilarious.
We've got people from other country spam bots in the comments. That's cool.
Yep.
We
I
did
saw that. We did it.
It probably came over from the Natasha Nice episode.
I'm sure it didn't get here from whatever else we were talking about. Oh man, we're just getting hacked. I think that's all that means. I don't know. I don't know enough to be able to take anything different from that. But
I didn't even shit on the government today. That's it.
that's probably the problem. You're red flagged because you're not accommodating.
I'm not doing my normal dookie.
Yeah. Oh, there's no
Christ.
translator?
Mm,
I don't know what that is. But it's the same thing twice.
yeah. Yeah, it's got to be a click on this site, ruin your life thing.
Yeah. Slippery slope.
Yeah. No thanks.
Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. You robot, you.
You did it. Oh man, dude, it's 10 o'clock and my back's cramping. I've been getting.
Say that again.
I need to go lay down. It's at 10 o'clock. My back's cramping. I need to go lay myself down.
I hit solo on my end, which isolated my sound. I couldn't hear you, but I was thinking the exact same thing. All right, sir. Well,
All right, brother.
sign us off like you normally
Well,
do?
everybody, thank you for listening to the Sober Swole podcast. Once again, my name is Jake Howard.
My name is DJ Swirl.
And thank you once again for coming. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon, solstice, whenever you see this.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion,